Welcome back. Futures are mixed this morning on this final trading day of the month. Dow Industrial's pretty good rally underway. Dow Industrial's up 117, but the Nasdaq is negative, down about 15 right now. The S&P 500 higher by 3 points. We're looking ahead this morning to the July PCE index. It's out in 2 hours, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Economists are expecting core prices to be up 0.2% month over month and up 4.25% year over year. Joining me right now is FinTec AI CEO Wolfgang Koester. Wolfgang, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks very much for being here. How do you view these markets today?
Well, we actually think that the inflationary numbers and the PCEs, et cetera, are going to come in right around the numbers as expected. And we actually see this as an interest rate environment that's going to finally calm down and normalize at these levels, which gives the opportunities for, quite frankly, good equity purchases. You've seen volatilities in the Nasdaq, probably a good time to buy there.
Yeah, but what does this mean for the economy and the macro story, which has been slowing? We are looking ahead to the August jobs report out tomorrow. Economists are expecting 170,000 jobs added to the economy for the month, with the unemployment rate holding steady at 3.5%. We had the August ADP number coming in lower than expected, though, yesterday, showing the lowest growth in jobs since March, Wolfgang. So there's been a real impact from 11 rate hikes, and I don't know that we've actually felt all of it yet. What do you think?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yeah, I don't disagree at all. I do think that they keep trying to fight this inflation. I think that Chair Powell should have, in the early days of this, had more significant hikes. Therefore, he wouldn't have had to piece this up. And to continue to look at, do I revise it again and again and again? We just heard him talking out of Wyoming again on what do I do about this? Well, we're going to watch this really closely, so he's not capping this at all. I do actually think that at this point, raising interest rates a lot more is unlikely. I think it'll hurt the economy too much. And so what you're seeing now is that a lot of investments are focusing on the private market away from the public market per se. So they're looking at what companies are back in the pre-IPO spaces. You're seeing the Instacarts coming out. You're seeing companies, even like a company like Sapphire, who's still in the early days of this, where the markets, the PEs and the venture capital firms are really looking back at that area. As you know, in the early days of this, there was a massive shift away from the private funding to the more publicly traded companies and funding. That's where the PEs and VCs were investing.
Here's Mark Tepper.
Wolfgang, good morning. I want to get your take on the consumer, because on one hand, we saw last month's retail sales data come in very strong, up 1% month over month ex autos. But on the other hand, we know that we've just surpassed $1 trillion of credit card debt. Delinquencies are starting to rise. Charge-offs are starting to rise. How much longer can the consumer keep this market moving in the right direction?
Well, it seems like they're pretty resilient about it, right? I think that people are starting to get used to this interest rate level, and unfortunately, they're willing to go into more debt. And at some point, we got to pay the piper. I do think that, right or wrong, I think it's more on the wrong side, that the Bidenomics part of the, keep putting money into the economy is at some point going to not be a very favorable part. But right now, consumers are spending and continuing to fuel the economy.
Nvidia had another record close for the second day in a row. Wolfgang, stock is up 237% year to date. All tech up year to date. The big tech doing quite well. Wolfgang, how do you feel about this space, and would you put new money to work here?
Absolutely, I would. I mean, whether it's an Nvidia, whether it's a CrowdStrike, some of these companies, they're just still, the market's still getting used to what are these platform companies, really, when you think about the Salesforce.com, what are they all about? And the stickiness and the recurring revenue that you're seeing these companies, people still see a lot of value in. We've had the multiples come from 16, 17 down to 10, and they're starting to come back up. And I think that's actually right. So the market is down significantly, and people are picking this. Nvidia obviously being a bit of an exception because they kept going up, but that is because of the demand of chips, et cetera, obviously.
All right, Wolfgang, we'll be watching that. What a move, for sure. Good to see you this morning. Wolfgang Koester joining us. Thank you, sir.